Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Kirby Lupo, and welcome to another episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast. This is episode number 18. I'm joined alongside my co-host Nick Levine and Cody Stevens. We'll get to them here in just a second. But the Panthers are up 2-0 here on the Edmonton Oilers. 2 wins away from Lord Stanley, the closest they have ever been, dating back to 1996, of course, and dating back to last season against the Vegas Golden Knights. But before we kind of break down the last 2 games here, I just want to start with a lot of emotion from this series. What we're seeing online, what we're seeing with the media, what we're feeling in our hearts. And as I said, in our previous podcast episodes, if we ended up playing the Edmonton Oilers here, this was going to be a lose-lose situation for me. If the Panthers win, my family and friends that are Oiler fans that live up north, they're going to hate me forever. If the Panthers lose to the Oilers, I'm going to be mocked for the rest of eternity because they know that is my number one sports team, the Florida Panthers. So I got a message back from my uncle today, and he's telling me, quit whining. I almost want the Panthers to win because you're whining so much. All I did was I sent him the message on the neon knee hit that we're going to get into, the check from behind in game 1. I didn't even mention the whole Draisaitl and Barkov stuff, guys. So yeah, he's already in his feelings and everything like that. Then I sent him the video on the Oiler fan that's trying to get in a fight at the rink. That's poor form. When you are a visitor in enemy territory, you should behave and be respectful. If you can't handle your liquor, don't be drinking. If you've got rage issues, leave the arena early, do what you have to, but knocking cell phones out of people's hands, trying to get a part of people, having the security grab you, having your own son grab you as a growing, I'm just going to swear there for a sec, caught myself, man, be better than that. So, these Oiler fans that want to say these 6 fans and there's no fans sitting in the seats at the start of the periods, how about show some of the other tape on the Edmonton side? But guys, I'm fired up. Who wants to start here? Who wants to
I would love to, actually.
Okay,
I would
go ahead, Nick.
love to.
Nick, you got to go off here because we did a little bit in the Boston series, but this is no time better than now.
I guess they don't have concession stands in Canada, I guess. I just think you just sit in your seat for the whole every minute of every period, every minute of intermission. There's nobody else. There's nothing else in the stadium. It's just the ice rink you get out there, right? Is that how this works? Kirby, you're up in Canada. Is that how this works?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't know if I can afford a ticket.
I don't know. But anyway, I'm really, no fans, no fans. Okay, whatever. I want to talk a little bit something about our style of play. This is, you hear a lot of people talk, this is old school hockey, right? If this is the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers playing this old school hockey.
Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins.
Is that okay? Or is it the Florida Panthers can't do it, but if a quote unquote real hockey market does it, then it's okay, right? Oh, it's an issue because the Florida Panthers do it, right? But anytime somebody else says it, it's like, it's the Panthers, that's it, whatever.
No credit to the other team,
No credit. And it's almost like, what can the Oilers do? What are the Oilers doing wrong? How about what the Panthers are doing right? And I know a lot of people are kind of salty about the Florida Panthers actually succeeding now because I get it. We're not a real hockey market. We're not
no state income tax. That's really helping us, Doesn't have nothing to do about Bill Zito or Paul Maurice.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, you can make fun of, we don't have fans in the stands, which is not true if you open your eyes on any other film. Or you could talk about, this is dirty hockey by the Florida Panthers. But I know for a damn fact that if the Edmonton Oilers were playing this way, they would love it. And every other NHL fan wants their team to play this way. That's why everybody was talking about last summer. How can we get the next Matthew Tkachuk? How can we be more like the Florida Panthers? That's why the Toronto Maple Leafs went out and got Domi and Bertuzzi last year, right? So if it's such a low-class way to play, why are other teams trying to do it?
Hey, Nick, I just want to add in here and work off of this point. I did some research before coming to air here. What about the Evander Kane situation last year on Keegan Colasar in Vegas? Having him down on the ground, he had an arm lock on him, and he was giving him body blows. Punch after punch after punch after punch. What about Darnell Nurse with, I think it was Hague last year against Vegas, coming in there, and that's where he got that game suspension? The Oiler fans weren't saying, we deserve that suspension. We're like, we like that style of hockey. We like that type of hockey. But you want to play that type of hockey against the Panthers? I don't think that's going to work. And we're going to get into some of the dirty tactics by the Oilers. But you have anything to say on that stuff, Nick, before we go to Cody here?
No, and again, obviously the Leon Draisaitl hit, we'll talk about that in particular later, right? Could have soared Alex Pietrangelo with a vicious two-hand slash last year. got suspended, right? Carson Soucy with a cross-check to the face gets suspended.
Zadorov got fined, I think, which I didn't think that was a problem.
Yeah, so, I guess it just depends on what number, what kind of jersey you got on, I guess. Apparently it doesn't matter about anything else. But again, that's Nick Cousins doing what Draisaitl did. Oh, that's a big deal, guys. Like,
not Nick Cousins. We're going to bring Kevin Bieksa back into
oh my
this.
gosh.
Oh, no. He's already laid off, send Nick Cousins' name through 2 games on Sportsnet CBC. Let's not have Nick. But I've
heard the term, he's not that type of player. That's great, but it's a dirty play. Doesn't matter whether it's the Henrique boarding, the Fogle knee, which we'll get into later, or the Draisaitl hit. It doesn't matter what type of player they are.
Evander Kane sucker punch, Connor McDavid sucker punch.
It doesn't matter what type of player you are, right? He might not be a dirty player, but the fact of the matter is it's a dirty play. And that doesn't excuse it.
You forgot the Carrick one?
Oh, yeah, that's ridiculous.
You like some of this there, Kulikov?
Yeah,
how you feel?
Like, I didn't even see it until
How's your children?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, but that was... We'll get it all.
He already has kids already.
It does, I think. Do you see Brandon Montour check on him? He's rubbing his back. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. These guys make me laugh. It doesn't bother the Panthers. They just laugh it off. Get Lomberg in the lineup. Get Cousins in the lineup. Bring back my boy Mason Marchment. He's done. Bring him back in there. Let's throw him all.
All right, let's not go that far.
Let's go. Come on, Cody. Cody, no Marchment slend.
I like guys who could skate.
Cody's.
Bambi on skates, but
Go ahead, Cody. Take over. Your thoughts.
Boy. It's funny. I thought Maple Leaf fans were bad. Or the fans just may take the cake here, man. Oh, my Lord.
I told you, Cody, you know Western Conference hockey. You don't know just the Panthers. You watch Western Conference games.
Yeah, but...
I told you about this fan base and online specifically that we're seeing. We haven't seen them at the arena yet.
But this is hilarious. Like, I've seen, like, there's like video. I've never seen so many slow motion videos go around saying, "Oh, the refs miscalled, the refs missed that call." Bro, y'all had 2 full power plays in the second, and you ended up with what, 1 shot for each of them? Like, and you want more? What's the matter with your
4 shots at 5?
I was going to get into the special teams later, guys. Do you want to get into it now? The Oilers thought, my uncle, my friends, my family, if we get 5-6 power plays, that's what we should be gifted. I said, the Panthers are going to get more than 1 or 2, Nick.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be 5 it's going to be 3 or 4 power plays. And
I thought the narrative coming into this series is, Florida takes a lot of penalties. Well, in the round 1, yes, we did. But if you take a look at rounds 2 and 3, we played rather disciplined.
Especially against the Rangers.
Against the Rangers.
Yeah.
And that was one of my keys
except for game 3.
Aggressive discipline or disciplined aggressiveness.
Well, I told you guys a high of that game was coming in game 3.
But
we got the 6 power.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just
3, I think it was.
Like, the Oilers have scored 1 goal in this series, and it was on 4-on-4. And if we're being honest here, it was a goal that Bob really should have had. But at that point, where how hot he was in game 1 and how the rest of game 2 happened, you give him a mulligan there. I mean, he probably deserves a couple for the game 1 performance, to be honest. But it's just, I don't know. It's just like they're not the Oilers as of right now. As we've seen game 1 and game 2, in game 2 they were a 1-line team, 1 line, and it was the McDavid line. Draisaitl nowhere to be found that game, in a straitjacket the entire game by the Florida Panthers defense, and. With Darnell Nurse going down too in game 2, really, I think it kind of exposed Bouchard because, for being real here, Bouchard around 24 to 27 minutes was playing fairly good for Edmonton. He was really good in game 1 for him. But once he started hitting that 30-minute mark, a pizza to Evan Rodriguez right on his stick, top cheese.
Cody, I want to add this point because it's working off of your point here. I tweeted out some interesting time on ice numbers. This kind of blew up. Stanley Cup Final, game 1. Matthew Tkachuk was at 13:57. Yep. Brandon Montour was at 18:53. That was the lowest ice time for both of those gentlemen for the 24-24 playoffs to date. And then I looked into the Oilers. Bouchard, game 1. That's still a lot of minutes, Cody. 27-17. McDavid, 25-19, and Draisaitl, 23-14. I said that they put McDavid and Draisaitl together at the start of the third. Nick mentioned to me they even did it at the end of the second.
They were doing it at the end of the second period.
Yes, yeah.
And, I get it. Like, and it's not like the Oilers weren't generating good chances in game one, right?
exactly.
It's not like, oh, they don't have any. Like game two, I kind of recognize it more, right? Like, okay, we really got nothing going on. We
If
need
they're
to get
desperate.
this work,
Yeah.
right? But midway through the second, like it's a 2-goal game, yes, but like you're generating good offense, constant pressure. Bob's obviously, locked in, but I thought it was quite a desperate move, not only in between the games, but then the changes Knobloch made from game one to game two.
It was a concession in game one to wave that white flag to stack your lines when the Oilers have come into this series and been like, well, the Panthers are favored in this series, and a lot of people are talking about their depth. Well, we have depth too. When you do that so early on in game one, that just concedes that you have depth, and they're going to use the excuse Evander Kane's banged up. This guy's banged up.
Yeah,
well, it's a war of attrition.
Yeah, but here's
the
the
end
thing:
of the day.
they're going through the same thing we did last year. Lusto was banged up. Kachuk was banged up. Like Agba were banged up, but we didn't have the depth to compete.
Yep.
And I said this,
but Cody, they believe they have the depth.
I don't know how.
I said this prior to the series started. I believe it was on our pre-series Twitter Spaces with Avery.
Yep.
I said I just don't see guys like Janmark and Connor Brown and like the guys that they were hyping up coming through like they have in previous rounds, and so far they haven't, right? And I talked about, for example, like they were comparing our physicality to Vancouver and our depth to Dallas, like the same arguments, right? I'm like, there's a reason why we're the number one forechecking team. We're not number two. We're not number three. We're number one. It is the Florida Panthers forecheck.
Yeah,
then everybody else. And it's Panthers, everybody else, right? And you take a look at defensive depth, right? And I think personally, Kirby, me and you were talking the other day, in between game one and game two, like, who do you think your best defenseman was? You said Kulak, I said Philip Broberg. And for me, those two have been the best, right? And
not Kulak game two. He was horrible.
I think we were talking
in between game one and game two.
Yeah, that's what
at the moment. But Philip.
Well, Cody didn't like Desharnais, and I thought Desharnais becoming in the lineup is a lot better than Cody Ceci, because Cody Ceci probably couldn't play much of a better game than he did game one. Yeah, and he was on the ice for the 2 goals against.
Yeah, but
he play a lot worse than that.
But here's the pickle that they're in. Remember, I said this. Like I said this when the Avery Space. I left early, and I said Panthers in 6 because I do not believe their bottom 2 pairs can handle it. And guess what pairs have struggled? Their bottom 2. And guess what? Now with Nurse hurt, you got to put Ceci back in.
Oh, if you want to talk about Evan Bouchard, he was awful in game 1 or game 2. Sorry.
And here's the other thing: Matthias Ekholm hasn't obviously scored the goal in game 2. There was I was rewatching the third period of game 1, and I think with about 5 minutes left, he was only at around 15 minutes of ice time. I don't know what he ended up with, but I was thinking, isn't that quite low for Matthias Ekholm? Who
what game? What game are you talking about there? In
game one. Game 1. I don't know what he ended up with, but I remember looking at it that's pretty low for Matthias Ekholm, right?
Game 1, he was. This is what we always do on Spaces. Everyone, we look up these numbers live. 1857.
Yeah. So you would think that, and obviously he had a lot more minutes in game 2, but I was surprised seeing how little minutes he got. Especially there was a lot of talking points about Nurse and Ceci being reunited, right? Desharnais and Nurse were put together after Ceci got bumped down to the bottom pair. That was really a big shock to me, is them stacking the lines, and Matthias Ekholm didn't play a lot. Obviously, Evan Bouchard played 27 minutes in that game, right?
Yeah, game 1, and then 30-40 in game 2.
Yeah, so that's starting to wear him down, right?
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's just but right now, the guy, I think a lot of the Canadian people, even though this shout out Steve Dangle, he's the only one that really hasn't underrated this. The third line for Florida has killed Edmonton in this series so far. Lundell, Lusterine, and Tarasenko has killed them. I mean, Lundell, I don't know if there's a guy who's made more money this postseason than Anton Lundell on the Panthers.
We knew Lundell was going to get slept on from a Western Conference team, even though they could have watched him last year.
But how about another depth guy? We talk about the depth of Edmonton. How about our depth guys? Evan Rodriguez, Lil Starinen, Tarasenko, Lundell, right?
Shout out Nico Mikkola.
Nico Mikkola.
We didn't even talk about Nico Mikkola getting a goal in this series. Cody, remember when we did the preview show? I'm like, you were talking about Montour getting a goal. I was like, I said OEL. I didn't even mention Mikkola, I don't think.
Yeah, because Mikkola has what? Like 2-3 goals, but two of them came against Edmonton.
He owns Edmonton. Half his goals are against Edmonton.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But I said the Panthers are going to need more production from their back end. And guess what? They got 2 goals last game in game 2.
Yeah.
From the back end, Ekblad and Mikkola, even though Ekblad was the empty netter, but still, empty netters are huge in the playoffs. I don't care what you tell me.
I might get him going. Offensively.
Ekblad was very meh game 1, probably close to being bad. But game 2, after the shaky first, he was phenomenal.
I thought he was bad game 1. The Ekblad supporters like Cody and one of our speakers, Daniel, who love Aaron Ekblad and stand up for him at every stop. I didn't think he was good in game 1. And that's what the Canadian media told me after I got off Spaces. And I listened back to what people thought of Aaron Ekblad's game, getting beat on speed plays from McDavid, getting behind the defense. But game 2, when Aaron, guys, do you want to get into the dirty plays now? When Aaron Ekblad gets mean, and he does the thing that he did to Evan Bouchard. This takes me back to Sean Thornton against the New York Islanders. I wish I could find the clip for all of you. And from YouTube
when he choked out Clutterbuck.
When he choked out Clutterbuck, there was fights going on. Guys were down on the ice. You could see Sean Thornton. I think it was a rear naked choke. I think he might have had his back, or he might have been on his stomach. He might have been on his back, and then he had him on his stomach. I can't remember.
But let's speak on the dirty play that created that funny video now, which was Leon Draisaitl probably letting out all of his frustration into Alexander Barkov, the guy who's been doing most of the locking up this series, the guy who pretty much took Draisaitl out of the zone on one of the power plays in game 1. That was a dirty hit. I'm not surprised he didn't get suspended. I wish he would have just got fined. Because
what's your views on it? Leaving his feet, but the puck is there, and did he take 2 steps towards?
I don't have
people are sending me the rules, Cody, and it says it doesn't have to be all of those things to constitute a charge and to be a suspension. But the puck was there. Yeah. Did he take the 2 or more strides? But again, he did leave his feet.
That's the thing. He legit jumped up into Barkov's jaw. That's where my biggest problem lies. It's not really the hit. The puck's there. I'm like, it's playoff hockey. You hit him all you want.
Yeah, and Barkov, we don't want to be victim blame, but Barkov was fishing for that puck there. The more I keep going back to watch, it's like he can't put himself in that vulnerable situation.
But also in the same token, he wasn't expecting Draisaitl to Super Mario jump right into his jaw.
But you gotta know you're becoming a target in the series.
Yeah, Draisaitl,
you're dominating. Like Barkov, you are dominating.
Draisaitl launched himself into the hit. Right,
it's premeditated.
It's a high hit. Head is the principal.
He knew it was Barkov. The Canadian media said he knew it was Barkov.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This isn't like what happened to Barkov in Vegas, where it was a hockey play, and because Martinez, that was all one motion. He didn't know Barkov was there. That wasn't premeditated.
No,
that wasn't dirty. Yeah, I remember. I'm like, okay, I wasn't mad at. I was mad that Barkov got hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I can't be mad at Martinez because he was playing the puck, and it was just a regular hockey move.
Yep. But inadvertent, you would call it inadvertent.
Yeah, it was accidental. Like, I'm not going to get mad at him for that. But shout out D'Lo for finding that clip, and then Barkov getting the bubble and going on that tear, especially in the Colorado. Mm-hmm. But the leaving of the feet is what gets me. Like, it's not the hit. It's like use your elbows to stack them. Okay, oh well. But it's leaving the feet, and you just. Basically, and I have no idea because hockey, you don't know anything about a damn injury. So if I were a betting man, I would think Barkov would play game 3. But
you were talking the other night, like maybe not.
I was talking the possibility of what they may do, and I said I think you go Lundell, Luceron, and Reinhart.
Yeah, because
that line can shut down another line, and they could score. You leave Bennett, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, because Bennett's been on one this series. He's been the best playmaker in this series. I don't think that's far fetched to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's creating stuff off the rush. He's weaving in and out of traffic. I mean, that Erod goal game 1. Did you ever think Sam Bennett would make that play? I didn't.
No, he's elevated
Like,
his
Nick,
offensive
you think
game
he'd
here.
make that play, weaving in and out of traffic, beats the D-man to the puck, finishes out, and gets a guy wide open in the slot for a goal?
Which play are you talking about?
The Erod goal, game 1. When he's
yeah. He beats him to the puck, and I wanted to actually talk about that real quick. You're talking about in game 1.
Nick, I just wanted to say with like the Barkov situation there, I think you don't be cautious here. Like you put your foot on the Oilers' throat. You don't give them any life at home.
Well,
if you can play with a bubble, you put them out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the time
if
of year.
It's a broken jaw, if it's concussion, different story.
I
was listening to Paul Maurice press conference the morning after game 2, and he was saying Sam Bennett broke his foot and didn't tell anybody till after the playoffs. So that's like just the type of things like these guys are willing to go to. Like, it's not like we hear Paul Maurice say, if this is game 1 of the playoffs, he's playing, right? Well, guys play through things.
And the latest update from Paul Maurice is that Barkov's looking better. It's not got any worse. So to me, that doesn't scream concussion to me.
Again, there's a lot of speculation. I'm personally not going to speculate on what it is.
It's impossible to,
because again, I don't want to speculate.
I understand. Yeah, I'm not putting it all on the record.
I will say this though,
encouraging news.
As far as will he play, if he can, if it's not like Cody said, a concussion, if it is at all possible for him to play, he's going to play.
Yeah.
Look at Zdeno Char.
Yes,
put the bubble on.
People have brought Zdeno Char's name up and all this, right? But I actually wanted to talk about moving into game 3, like people saying, oh, Edmonton's got the home crowd, like, oh, they're going to have this motivation. If I'm the Florida Panthers and I just seen what Leon Draisaitl did to my captain, all that motivation factor for Edmonton, in my opinion, should go out the door. Like, you just took a headshot at my captain, and that's like inexcusable, right? Your best player.
Are you talking physical motivation or just putting pucks behind Skinner in the back of the net?
All around,
Okay, if you're talking all around, then I'm going to throw Matthew Tkachuk in there, Sam Bennett in there.
But I think also
Nick Cousins comes in the lineup.
I slightly disagree. I don't think this is physical. You get the best revenge by winning one of these games and making sure you lift the cup in front of them. That is.
Oh yeah, and I also think
I want both. I want goals in the back of the net, and I want physicality.
I also think it's time for Matthew Tkachuk and
Bennett
to step up. It's time for him to step up. He hasn't been really all that great since round 1 against Tampa Bay. I think it's time for him to step up.
I don't mean Bennett to step it up, but I mean their physicality. But for Tkachuk to step it up on the
Tkachuk, I thought got better as the game went on game 2.
And I'll say this: I know people are going to say, "Oh, that was a slash," whatever. I don't care. The back check against Connor McDavid saved a goal.
The fact that he caught up to him was kind of funny too.
But if that goes in, there's about 5 minutes left in that game 2, and you're down by 1, and you're up by 1, and Alexander Barkov isn't in the lineup.
And how about the Kevin Stenlund face-off win?
My lord,
4-4, I think it was. That could have been something. Or no, on the penalty.
He won like 2 or 3 D zone draws against McDavid and Draisaitl.
Oh, when the fourth line was stuck out there in the icing?
Well, no. When Barkov was out. Out in the back half of the third. That fourth line shift, phenomenal, by the way. They were stuck out there for 2.5 minutes against the stacked McDavid Draisaitl line and got out of it.
I tried to tell people Kevin Stenlund is a great matchup for the Carolina Hurricanes, which we didn't end up playing, and a team like the Edmonton Oilers that we saw earlier in the year. He played some great hockey against the Edmonton Oilers. There's certain teams that he can match up on.
And that's another thing. Like, when McDavid and Draisaitl have been stacked, the Oilers have generated nothing. Like, they have not been good when those two guys are stacked on the line. Like, they have not generated much, if anything. And when that happens, their other 3 lines become useless.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nick?
Yeah, I to just touch on what Cody said, really the main thing for me is, and the biggest takeaway I have from these 2 games, aside from the physicality and everything, is our system and the way everything has been executed. And I know there's been a lot of talk about man-on-man. I believe it was Whitney from Spit and Chicklets. He posted a video a couple of months ago with Carolina, right? He's like, there's a lot of talk about, can a man-on-man system win a Stanley Cup, right? And again, I don't know if we've changed our system a little bit, maybe a hybrid, right? But there was a clip posted by Bleacher Report from game two.
And praising McDavid.
Yeah,
when they just kept switching.
and that's fine. That plays right into Florida's game, right? Like there's nowhere for McDavid to go with the puck. And I talked about in our preview show about the gap control, which wasn't great in game one, but in that third period and into game two, you could see us starting to get to our game, chip the puck in deep. Our defense were really gapping up a lot better, forcing Edmonton to kind of chip. And obviously, like I said, McDavid's going to get his chances, which he did in game one. But in game two and in period three of game one, I think you really saw our system in full effect, like us getting to our game.
And you're seeing Connor McDavid in that game two in particular, weave in and out, pull back, skate around. I made a joke on Twitter. If this guy is playing minor hockey in Canada, no matter like he's a generational player or whatever, there would be parents yelling from the bleachers, "Move the puck. You've got teammates out there. Share it. Pass." Like he's just skating around, looking, seeking for things. And then the Panthers, Tkachuk, another great defensive play by him. He's one of the last guys back, breaks up the pass through the slot area from McDavid, and then the Panthers are going the other way with the puck. He's using a lot of wasted ice, a lot of wasted energy, and he's got to be getting to the point of frustration, Cody. And Cody, even if he goes off for one game, I think it reverts back to the norm for the Panthers when they lock in with their defensive system. His game is not going to work in 2024 versus this Florida Panthers team.
It's just like right now, like that clip that Nick was talking about with Bleacher Report Open Ice. Like they were saying, like McDavid fired with the skating, but he was with there was a Panther with him every step of the way, and then he just passes it through the slot and he turns it over.
That's the one I was commenting on about the Canadian hockey parents. They'd be yelling at him at the rink, no matter how good of a player he is. They have their sons out there with this player that's not moving the puck and sharing the puck, and people could be like, "Well, they're not helping him." Well, McDavid's more of a facilitator than he is a goal scorer. Like you've got to be able to find guys and things like that. And if guys aren't moving to where McDavid wants them, then that's where he's got to be on the bench yelling at them. But Cody, I don't see him going back to the bench and yelling at Bouchard, yelling at Draisaitl, yelling at Hyman. He's just doing this all on his own. And guys are not going to step up to him and have that little talk with him. Where I think our room will have that talk. Ekblad will have a talk on the bench with someone. Tkachuk will have the talk on the bench with someone. But we haven't really gone through those phases of frustration. Right now, Leon Draisaitl's frustrated. Nick, they haven't scored goals at this low of a rate on the power play, or it's even getting to 5-on-5 than they have all year.
And everyone thought if the Panthers gave the Oilers 7 power plays in the first 2 games, they would have scored on 3 of them.
Yeah, but just to that point, they're not even scoring on 1 when they get 3 or 4 opportunities. Yeah.
On the McDavid front, Kirby, talk about in the offensive zone. How about the other end of the ice, 200-foot game? First of all, I think Oilers, they need to have a little bit more of a simple game plan, And that's kind of where, McDavid, you're double shifting him. That's great. Sooner or later, if it's McDavid, Draisaitl, that's it. What else do you have, right? And in game one, on the first goal of the game, Carter Verhaeghe, a lot of people were complaining about Cody Ceci, right? Darnell Nurse. Connor McDavid did not back check. And
neither did Zach Hyman.
He did not back check. And you know what? Even on the second goal, wanted to get to this earlier. Cody Ceci, did he get beat to the puck? Yes. But if Andrew Kane has to be in the middle of the ice to cover Evan Rodriguez, Darnell Nurse needs to have his stick on the ice. I noticed that there's a lot of people blaming Cody Ceci, but there are other guys on the ice not doing their job. And it's Connor McDavid who misses his assignment, is not back checking, and it's Cody Ceci getting eventually scratched and blamed for it all.
It's not the system that we run. There's accountability there. That's like McDavid.
All 5 guys. We talked about a 5-man game. I've said it time and time again. Most times we support each other really well. You see all 5 guys in the picture when you're watching it on TV. That's our game, right? And the buy-in is at an all-time high. Right now, it can't just be the Connor McDavid show up and down the ice. It's got to be a full group effort, and everybody's got to be bought in. And you got to play a little bit more simple. Simple play is sometimes the better play.
I just don't think Edmonton knows how to play team defense, and just like the way Florida does, because Florida knows what each person's supposed to do. I don't think Edmonton does know that.
Because even though we're not getting shots, right? If we're chipping the puck in deep and we're in that zone for 30, 45 seconds cycling, even if we don't get a shot off, that's 30 to 45 seconds Connor McDavid not in the offensive zone, and it's wearing their defenseman down. So even though there's not a shot on goal, those shots on goals and those chances are going to come as the game goes along, which is why I thought it was a little bit less effective in game 1. But as the game went on and into game 2, you really saw it come into full effect.
You know, it's funny. Like Edmonton's down. If you asked me, like before the series, Edmonton down 2, I thought Skinner would have been the worst player, but he's been fine for him. Actually,
he's been fine. You know, like I'll say this: I think he should have had the first one in game 1, but the second one, Evan Rodriguez. I'm not going to say I don't think. I think Igor, Swayman, and Vasilevsky.
They stopped those.
Yes, but Stuart Skinner's not making the money those guys are. And again,
he's not as good as those guys are.
He made some pretty good saves. Now, again, kind of, you know.
Shout out Sergei Bobrovsky for the game 1 masterclass. I mean, probably the best. I don't care. I didn't watch 96, but in my opinion,
I care. We care. Go on.
Yeah. But that was the single best goaltending performance, I believe, in Panthers history in a playoff game.
Van Beesbrook's up there. I don't know if Luongo would be a lot of those.
Yeah, Bobrovsky was spectacular. It was
Jose Peter would be up there.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing with Luongo is he doesn't have much success to tie his name to this franchise, really. And that's more.
Yeah, but I'm still going to count it. If you're talking playoffs, you still got to count it if it's round 1 or whatever.
Yeah, but I think where it happened in the game, I think it matters, and that's why I think it's number 1.
No, I'm loving what Bob's there. Anything on the way out here, gentlemen?
Just take one.
I'm ready for game 3. I'm really excited. I'm pumped up, and just win the next one. Focus on it. Win a shift. Win a period. Keep doing the things we've been doing, and that those results are going to come. We're really close right now, but you can't look too far ahead.
I could taste it.
We are 2 wins away. I just want to say before on the way out here, everyone join us for post game on Spaces X. We've been having a blast over there. Some great calls the last 2 games here. Of course, it's always great when you're winning, but everyone has really stepped their game up over there on Spaces. The listeners are really appreciating the listen backs either in the morning or at night live when they're kind of dozing off to sleep. So great there. IG live pop in chat. I want to thank Matthew H for dropping by for game 2. Cody dropped by for game 1 for me. We're going to have to get Nick in there for one of these games here soon. Join us on IG live about an hour, 20 minutes before puck drop. We go about 20, 30 minutes over there. Follow us on Instagram, Cats and Rats Podcast, and also follow our YouTube channel. We're going to have a lot more YouTube content over there. Before we let you go here today, I want to mention our sponsor here, CanesWear. They've got a lot of gear coming, 2 more wins. They were sending me a message today. I was getting pretty hyped. So there's going to be potentially some new gear here in the next week or 2, but we shall see. But just to let everyone know on CanesWear, Panthers Fever is here. Are you geared up? CanesWear and Davie is a place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team: jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. CanesWear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at PanthersWear.com. Again, that's PanthersWear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear. And as always, on the way out, let's go Cats!